The Galactic Peacekeepers were the epitome of order, discipline, and strength. Trained in hundreds of ways to neutralize threats, they maintained peace across countless systems. From the massive warriors of the Yalvar species to the psychic Aranin of Trillium 9, the Peacekeepers were a diverse force, each soldier a master of their craft. None of them had ever expected a human to be able to challenge their skills, let alone outpace them. Yet when they arrived on the diplomatic cruiser Vassara, orbiting the neutral world of HFY, they met their match. The Terran diplomat, Captain David Morrow, was a name well known in galactic circles. Not for his combat prowess, but for his strategic mind and uncanny ability to resolve conflicts. Earth had grown and quickly into a technological powerhouse, yet they were still viewed by the Peacekeepers as an inexperienced, almost childlike race, unpolished, new to the galactic stage. When a Peacekeeper emissary proposed a friendly duel, a tradition among their people to establish mutual respect before official dealings, David accepted. It was supposed to be a sparring match. Nothing more. The duel took place in the observation arena, an expansive, hollowed-out chamber aboard the Vassara. The walls were lined with holographic projectors, allowing for the display of various environments, from barren deserts to lush jungles. David stood alone in the center, stripped of his standard-issue combat armor, dressed in simple attire, gray pants, black shirt. His only weapon, his hands. Across from him stood the Halvar, a towering being of muscle and bone, its body rippling with barely restrained power. Their species' combat style was based on raw strength and overwhelming force, so they didn't use weapons. They didn't need to. "Are you sure about this?" The Jalvar commander, Shorak, grunted, his voice low and menacing. "You are just a human. I will not hold back." David smiled, his calmness almost unnerving. "I wouldn't expect you to. I've read all about your species." Very impressive. The Galactic Peacekeeper team watching from the side chuckled at the Terran's words. After all, a Jalvar in battle was a sight to behold, a force of nature unmatched by most. Shorak stepped forward, his every movement exuding confidence. The moment the duel began, he launched forward, his fist coming toward David's chest with the force of a warship's cannon. David didn't move. Not at first. Just as Shorak's punch reached him, David ducked, so fast it was almost imperceptible. His body lowered with a fluid motion, and as the massive fist passed inches above his head, David's palm shot upward in a quick strike to Shorak's ribcage. The Jalvar staggered back. Shorak blinked in surprise. "You're fast," he muttered, rubbing his side where David's strike had landed. It wasn't a full hit, but it had connected. His pride stung more than the physical pain. The crowd watching was silent, some of the Peacekeepers exchanging uncertain glances. David stood there, relaxed but focused. "You'll have to be quicker than that," he said, his voice cool. Shorak growled, anger flashing in his eyes. The Jalvar's fist came down in a flurry, aiming for David's torso. His blows were like wrecking balls, each punch creating shockwaves in the air. But David moved. Each strike aimed at him was dodged with the elegance of a dancer and the precision of a marksman. He moved just enough to avoid the full force of the attack, yet close enough to land blows of his own, quick, sharp jabs to Shorak's arms, legs, and ribs. It was a blur of motion. The Peacekeepers watched, stunned. "How is this possible?" one of the Iranan officers whispered, his eyes wide in disbelief. "No human should be able to react this fast." Another officer, a Tritar from the icy planet Oltar, scratched his head. "I've heard rumors about the Terran combat style, but I didn't believe them. This is unreal." Shorak was panting now, sweat beading on his brow. His face was a mask of confusion and frustration. "What are you?" he growled. "You're just a human." David dodged another heavy punch, and with his signature calm, tapped Shorak on the shoulder with a quick jab. "We're the product of billions of years of evolution in a hostile environment. You're strong, but strength isn't everything." The Jalvar staggered back, momentarily winded. He glared at David, fury in his eyes. The next few seconds passed in silence. Then Shorak roared and lunged, his fists aiming for David's head. But it was too late. David's body moved as if it were liquid, fluid, fast, unstoppable. He ducked low, slid beneath Shorak's outstretched arm, and before Shorak could even comprehend what was happening, David's foot connected with his knee in a sweeping motion. The massive Jalvar commander's knee buckled. Shorak fell to the ground with a resounding crash. For a moment, there was only silence. David stood over him, his breath steady, calm. His eyes met Shorak's. "I told you," David said, his voice almost a whisper. "Strength is nothing without speed." The crowd erupted into stunned applause, but it was hardly audible over the complete silence that filled the arena. The Peacekeepers were speechless, staring in shock at the Terran who had just single-handedly bested one of their most feared warriors. Shorak groaned, slowly pushing himself up. He looked at David, the hint of a begrudging respect in his eyes. "I've never encountered anything like that in my entire life." David smiled, offering a hand to help him up. "It's just a duel, Shorak. It's not a fight." But Shorak's voice was filled with awe. It's combat. And you are something else entirely, human." As Shorak stood, David stepped back. "Just remember, the next time you underestimate a human, it might be too late." As the duel ended, the Peacekeepers gathered in quiet reflection. The power of the Yalvar species had been well known, practically legendary. But what they had seen today shattered everything they had believed about the limits of combat. Humans weren't just fast. They were a species forged by their harsh, unpredictable environment, a death world that demanded they adapt, evolve, and push past every limit to survive. And now the galactic Peacekeepers knew one thing for sure. When it came to speed, humanity had no equal.